Okay, hello all. Welcome to Miss Osborne's Homework Helper. This week we've got 3 pages of homework, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the page that is the double-digit multiplication. It looks like this. It's got 20 problems. This should be review from 3rd and 4th grade. So I'm looking at the first problem right here. And that is 20 multiplied by 9. Go ahead and get this cleaned off. 20 multiplied by 9. This is set up vertically to help you keep track and organized. So when I start these type of problems, I go from right to left. So 0 times 9 is 0. 9 times 2 is 18. Really simple to follow those. If you're struggling with these types of problems, or if your child is having some difficulty with these type of problems, what's going to really help is knowing your math facts. And if you need multiplication flashcards, please let me know. So I'm not going to do any more from that page, but I'm going to move on to this page right here, the adding and subtracting fractions. It says solve each problem, write your answer as a mixed number if possible. There are 12 problems on the page. I'm going to do number 1 because this is a bit of a review from our last unit we did. So number 1 is 4 1/6 minus 5 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out. 4 1/6 minus 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to circle my whole number so I remember it. I'm going to use the butterfly method here. So I'm going to bring my fractions down. I'm going to write them a little bit bigger, but I'm going to leave that whole number. So I'm just dropping down the 1/6 minus the 5 seconds. And so I'm going to go ahead and create my butterfly wings. Create my butterfly body and my antennas. Again, I'm trying to find a like denominator so I can do this work. 5, okay, so I'm going to, oops, yeah. So 6 times 5, let me back up. 6 times 2 is 12, so I can go ahead and put that down in the body part right here. 6 times 5 is 30. Put that up top. 2 times 1 is 2. So my new fraction is 2, and I get my denominator from down here, 12 minus 30 seconds. Now I can't really subtract here because you can't take 30 from 2. So I'm going to rewrite that. I'm going to leave my 4 there because I need to remember it. And I'm going to give my first fraction some more value. So it was 4 2/12 minus 30/12. So what I would need to do is I would need to borrow against this 4, this whole number. So cross that out, write the 3. I'm going to add 12 to the top because I know that 12/12 it represents one whole. So then my new fraction would be 3, and 2 plus 12 is 14/12 minus 30/12. That's still not enough to make the subtraction happening. Oh, got a little off camera there, sorry. So it's still not enough to make the fractions happy. So I'm going to borrow again 2. So I'm going to go ahead and add 12. I'm going to write my new fraction over here. So I'm 14 plus 12, bringing that 2 over, is 26/12 minus 30/12. Still not enough. I'm going to need to borrow again. Hopefully you guys can see that. I need to borrow again. Borrow 1. I'm adding the 12 again because 12 twelfths is 1 whole. So then I'm going to rewrite down here 1, dropping that whole number down. 26 plus 12, so that's 38 twelfths minus 30 twelfths. Wow, looks like we are in business now. Okay, so now it's starting to look like 1 whole, 1 and 38 twelfths minus 30 twelfths. Okay, I can start to do some work on that. I'm going to move it up a little. Sorry, it's getting lots of math with this. I definitely encourage you to use a scratch piece of paper if you have that at home. Okay, so 1 whole minus no wholes equals still 1 whole left over. So 38 minus 30 is 8 left over. And the denominator stays the same. So then you have 1 and 8 twelfths. So I can take that a little bit further. I can simplify my work by going, here, let me try to put it down again. So my whole number would stay the same. I know that a common factor of 8 and 12 is 4. So 4 goes into 8 2 times. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. So my final answer would look like this, 1 2/3. So I'm going to give number 2 on this page a go as well. That was number 1 from the adding and subtracting fractions page. This is number 2. Number 2, right here, is 3/4 plus 4/9. Okay, this one's a little more simple. There's not the whole numbers getting in our way. 3/4 plus 4/9. Now I'm going to use the butterfly method just so you guys can see that again right now. So I'm making my wings, making the body, making the antennas. Okay, 4 times 9 is 36. Go ahead and put that in the body. 4 times 4 is 16. 9 times 3 is 27. So my new fractions will be 27, 36 plus 16. I'm getting that from under the antenna. 16, 36. Okay. So I kind of ran out of room, as I usually do. I'm a big writer. So I'm going to come down below and finish up. 26 plus 16. Now, for me, I have a hard time adding numbers like that when they're horizontal. I encourage you to go ahead and rewrite them vertically if you need to. There is no problem with that. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry my 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus the extra 1 is 4. So then 27 plus 16 is 43 over 36. Now, this is an example of an improper fraction. Your numerator is larger than your denominator, so we need to kind of fix that problem by making it a mixed number. How many times does 36 go into 43 evenly? Just 1 time. So then I need to subtract 43 or 36 from 43. Again, sometimes I have problems doing this if it's not lined up the right way, so I encourage you to go ahead and rewrite it if you need to. I need to go ahead and borrow because my 6 is larger than my 3 here. Make that a 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. So 7/36. Sorry, my cat's knocking on my door. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys on your end. So my answer would be 1 7/36. Okay. So the last couple of days we have been working on multiplying fractions. This is actually way simpler than adding and subtracting fractions. So on the page it looks like this. It has math antics, multiplying fractions, set 2 at the top. It gives you an example of number 1, 4/6 times 4/5 equals 16/30. So I'm going to work through problems probably 2 and... yeah, I'll work through 2 and 3 because I'm going to show you 2 different strategies. Number 2 is where we're going to start. Number 2 is 3/4 times 4/6. Today we learned what I call the crisscross method, and this is basically simplifying fractions before you do the multiplication process. So I always write, because I'm going to make new fractions, so I write fraction times fraction, and I'm going to kind of fill in the blanks here. So I'm starting my crisscross, and the only reason I know I can start my crisscross is because I know, does 3 go into 6? Yes. Does 4 go into 4? Yes. I can go ahead and do the crisscross. So I'm going to start with this cross. How many times does 3 go into 6? Evenly. It goes in 2 times. How many times does 3 go into itself? How many times does 3 go into 3? 1 time. So you'll notice here, I did my cross. The 2, because 3 goes into 6 2 times, the 2 comes over and makes a new denominator here. 3 goes into 3 1 time. It makes a new numerator here. So now we're going to work on this cross, 4 and 4. How many times does 4 go into 4? 1 time. Whoops. How many times does 4 go into 4 itself? 1 time. So now this is already a simplified product. We have 1 times 1/2. So I know that I multiply straight across with fractions. 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 2 is 2. My answer is 1/2. So now I'm going to do number 3 on this page. Because you're not always able to do the crisscross. Sometimes you just have to multiply across the top and across the bottom. You can't always do a crisscross method. So this one, number 3, is 5/6 times 2/6. Okay, I'm going to determine if I can do the simplified crisscross method. So does 2 go into 6? Yeah, sure does. Does 5 go into 6 as a factor without any leftover? No. 5 into 6 does not work, so I cannot do crisscross. So I'm going to be multiplying my numerator straight across, multiplying my denominator straight across, and then seeing if I need to simplify. So let's go ahead and do that. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, I multiplied my numerators, I multiplied my denominators. So I can definitely simplify that. 10 and 6. A common factor that I'm thinking of just off the bat is 2, because they're both even numbers. So I'm going to divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2 and see where I go from there. Because you have to do to the top what you do to the bottom. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 36 divided by 2, let me see, 18. So then I have 5 and 18. 5/18, sorry. And I don't think any factors that I know, 5 doesn't go into 18 evenly. I don't think there's any factors. I think that's the simplest form I can get it in. My answer. Okay. Again, if you guys are struggling with this, or if there's any methods you want me to show you in particular, please let me know. Homework is due on Friday. I hope to meet everyone and see everyone at conferences. Have a lovely night. Enjoy.